Hey guys, so Chris and I were just having an amazing chat. And Chris is amazing at emotional clearing work. He has in the past helped people with chronic pain and their health and things like that, but coming from the perspective of clearing the emotions that have come up throughout their life or past lives, to be able to let go of pain and disease and bad health, basically. And recently, he stepped into using this emotional clearing technique that he created and he's built himself to work on abundance around wealth. And I just think that's so cool and exciting. And we were having a chat before this, and we're like, "Oh, this needs to be on a live." So we're like,
Yes.
"Yes, let's do it." Last minute, give people 5 minutes notice. It doesn't matter. We're just like, we need to build on this energy right now. If you're from Chris, do you want to introduce me to your tribe?
Yes. So, Ellie is basically a mindset wizard. Her emphasis is basically on business. I've actually been working with her personally and had absolutely phenomenal results with my business. And so she basically, the great thing I love about you, Ellie, is that she'll coach you, but she doesn't tell you what to do. She just helps enhance what you already want to do, which
Mm.
there's nothing better than that, in my opinion. And then she helps you clear the crap, and she tells you to cut the crap if needed. So would that be pretty accurate?
Yeah,
That's
totally. I love there's so many coaches out there that tell you you have to do this, you have to fit in this box, you have to follow my cookie cutter strategy because that's what worked for me. And business doesn't work like that. There's so many ways to make money. There's so many
Yep.
ways to have the life you want, to have freedom, to do whatever. And I really agree with what you just said around guiding people to find the answers within themselves because it's all there already. Just a lot of people aren't trusting themselves enough to find those answers or to hear them.
Yep. Yeah, and that's literally, yeah. So that's what I love about how you do it, and everyone, everything like that. So it's been really powerful for me, and it's funny because as we've talked about in the past, we're on the same wavelength with all that stuff,
Yeah.
just coming from a different experiences, but kind
Yes.
of converging into the same mindset and belief system.
Totally. Totally. So what Chris and I were talking about before that we wanted to share with you guys today is around how your identity, your belief system, your values, your environment, the way that you think about yourself and the world basically creates whatever you want in life, and that can be positive or negative. And you can create freedom and everything you want in life from this, or you can tell yourself stories and excuses and uh, I guess judge, criticize, make rules to keep yourself small and hold yourself back. Chris made a really good comment before actually about how it's the 4th of July coming up and it's perfect time to talk about freedom. So for everyone in the US, of course.
Freedom. If you're from England, you might hate this holiday, possibly.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. So do you want to start with what you were talking about with identity before? I think that's really cool. And then I'd love to add in my 2 cents on that as well.
Yeah. So identity I've found is to be one of the most important, if not the most important thing that you need to understand. And when we're talking about identity, sometimes people are like, well, what's the identity? Some people don't even know. Like, I've had people that don't even know, like, what does identity mean? Like, what do you
Mm,
mean change my identity?
mm,
And basically what it is, it's kind of our awareness or our concept of ourself, meaning it's how we identify ourselves, right?
yeah,
So we were kind of talking about, you could want to lose weight, but if you're identifying yourself as the fat girl, guess what? It's going to be
mm,
really hard, if not impossible, to lose weight. And I
yeah,
don't care what you do. Maybe you'll do really good for a little bit,
yeah.
but then it's going to come right back.
Put it all back on. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with other areas of your life. Everyone's trying to focus on changing beliefs or behaviors, which is important, don't get me wrong, or thoughts, like the Power of Positive Thinking, which is a great book.
Mm,
But what I've found is positive thinking isn't enough, and it's also the harder route to take.
yeah.
When you're doing this stuff, is trying to change your kind of thoughts or behaviors. can be much, much harder than doing what I would term the simplest thing, which is changing your identity or how you view yourself. So let's just say, since we're going to, talk about kind of like wealth and all that, let's just say if you're struggling with money, it's really because of what you're thinking. And you can try to blame it on the economy or anything else, but people get richer in economic downturns. Yeah. So, like there's tons of abundance in all that. Like,
say a quick hello. Hey, Aileen. I've just muted you so there's no background noise, but great to have you on. Thanks for jumping on.
Hey, Aileen. So yeah, we're constantly hear from people, especially people who don't have money, that there's not enough. Everything's lack, right? And so this is why I want you guys to think about with your identity. You're going to easily uncover your identity by seeing what you talk about and what you think about most often. So you'll find that you're blaming the government. Hey, Nancy, how's it going? And anything like that, or you're blaming people, you're blaming situations, and that couldn't be further from the truth. And I want to tell you guys right now that you have to come to this realization that you and you alone are responsible for everything that comes into your life.
Yes.
And if you can make that shift, everything can change for you. And it's a seemingly simple concept, but trust me, it can be a little harder. And that's what I work with people on. That's what Ellie works with people on, is to shift that identity. And then guess what happens? It's so cool. Without even attacking your beliefs or your thoughts or anything else, all that starts shifting when you shift your identity of who you are.
Yeah.
So
totally. And what I found with identity as well is when we have a big change in our life, if we're not sure of what our new identity is, if our current one isn't serving us and we've had this big change, for example, a relationship's ended, someone close to us has passed away, our business is finished or we're starting a new business, we've left a job, we've moved overseas, any kind of big change, we can really be shifting that identity and wanting to step into something new. But if we're not fully sure on what that new identity is, a lot of people shrink back into an old identity. So they start doing drugs again, or drinking, or going out all the time, or sleeping around, or emotional eating, or whatever it is, falling back into these old patterns because they feel like they don't know who they are. And they don't realize that they're doing this. Or they might think, they might have the self-awareness to know, I'm escaping, or, I'm using these things to make me feel better. But what's even deeper than that is it's an identity issue. And so what we need to do is not realize that, for example, with me, I had this old identity of the party girl. And I used to see the party girl part of me as, she's bad, I can't be her. A lot of blame and judgment around that because of myself and the way my ex treated that identity as well. And basically with her, I saw her as lack of self-worth, sleeping around, doing drugs, destroying her life, doesn't believe in herself or accept or love herself. Whereas when I did an identity exercise recently for myself, and I took some clients through this too, I wrote out the positive qualities of the party girl. And the positive qualities of her was extrovert, social, talkative, life of the party, fun, there were so many more, but there's some off the top of my head. And so it's like, we're not killing this old person. It's still part of us. I'll always be a party girl. I love going out and having fun and dancing, and it doesn't mean I have to do drugs to do that. It doesn't mean I have to destroy my life to be that person. I can still be that fun, bubbly extrovert because that is part of me. And so it's looking at the positive traits of the identities we've had through our life, and then what we want to step into, and realizing that they're all parts of us. And when you do that, you're not going back to the bad habits or patterns or an old identity. You're really stepping into I guess I'm like superhero version of you. It's all stacked together and it's good stuff. Yeah.
And you bring up a good point, because that's what actually happens a lot. It's happened with myself and with others. It happens to all of us, is that you come into what's called a values conflict, right? And you think it's an either or scenario. You're like, well, either I'm this like uptight, like really put together person, or I'm this party girl. I can't have both. And what you just said hits it on the head. You can actually take all the good qualities of either and just embody them. And, you can call it shadows, you can call it limiting beliefs, whatever, values. It doesn't really matter what you call it. It's just yeah, you're putting all this self-criticism, self-judgment
Mm.
on yourself, and not realizing that you actually can have both.
Yeah.
And it's interesting talking about this identity. I'll give you a cool example around health. I have a client who struggled with health issues for a long time, and she's gotten way better. And what's interesting is come up multiple times is there's something called an idea allergy with some of the testing that I use. And it's literally when you're allergic to an idea. And so this client was kind of coughing up a lung, like literally, she's like, I can't stop coughing. She thought it was like detox or something or whatever. And I checked into it, and it turned out to be this idea allergy. And it was because she was allergic to the idea of health. Okay. Which sounds like crazy. Like, right? Like, how could you be, and this person wants to be healthy, right? Like, how could I be allergic to this idea of health? And what happens in our subconscious, we're still locked in this identity of I'm the sick person. I'm the person that's been sick for all these years. And, we haven't totally shifted it yet. And so therefore we can have like an allergic reaction. And this was resulting in her literally, because it was affecting her like fifth chakra and stuff, coughing up or like choking on the idea of being healthy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of symbolism there.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have the belief that, oh, I've been go for so long. If I slow down and stop, I'm going to get sick. So they just keep going. They keep going. And because they've told themselves that story, they make it their reality as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. So, our thoughts basically create everything in our reality. And I always liken it to this. Like, look at the concept of the cell phone, right? Okay. Before there was a cell phone, right? There was literally no cell phone. How the heck did a cell phone come into being? Like, right? How are we on this call? How did this come into being right here? And the truth is it all came from our thoughts, right? Like, it came from some concept we formed in our head, and then it came out. It's not the other way around. It wasn't in our reality, right? And then it wasn't in our
under like a mushroom somewhere in the forest.
Exactly, like a magic mushroom. And but yet, and we understand that, right? Like if I say that scenario to someone, they understand it, but they don't understand that nothing in their reality actually comes from their external environment. It can influence you. Don't get me wrong. Like being around certain people and stuff can influence you. Yeah. But ultimately, it's our choices and our thoughts and our identity that create what actually happens in our external environment.
Yeah, totally. I guess to add to that, something I was talking to Chris about before, and this is the basis and foundation of what I teach as well around mindset, is that we have a few different pillars. So first one is identity, which we've just kind of covered. Then we have our belief systems, we have our values, our environment, and then action. Okay, so 5 different pillars there. Now, a lot of people are trying to take the action, or they might be telling themselves positive affirmations like Chris mentioned before, like if I dream it, I believe it, I can achieve it. And, all these like rah-rah things. They might have gone to a Tony Robbins conference or something.
I was just thinking Tony Robbins.
Yeah, I'm going to make $1 million. And it's like, but they don't have all the other things in place. They're just telling themselves these things and then going, well, now I'm going to take the action and it's going to happen. But they are not sure of who they are or accepting and loving who they are. They've got limiting beliefs that are holding them back. They don't know what their values are, or they're making other things a priority that aren't in line with their goals. Maybe they haven't even set clear goals. And then their environment is not supportive to their goals as well. So they might be hanging around the wrong people. They might be in the wrong house. They might not be surrounded by people who are on the same path that they want to be on. And so when using the example of the fat girl before as well, I've had clients that have told me this in the past when I worked in fitness. Oh, I've always been the fat girl. I actually don't believe right deep down that I will ever lose the weight. Or they might lose 20 kilos and then put it back on. That's like, 40 something pounds for the Americans.
Yeah. Gosh dang America.
So that's their identity. I am the fat girl. So then your belief system is you're going to have beliefs around being the fat girl, that I can never lose weight, that it's too hard to lose weight, that I need junk food, that healthy food is disgusting, that I'm going to be starving if I go on a diet. You don't even need to go on a diet, but that they have to go on a diet, that it has to be all or nothing. And then from there, their values are in line with something else. So they might be putting their business or their work ahead of their health and things like that, probably putting everyone else ahead of themselves. And then after that, their environment, they're hanging around people that are eating McDonald's, that are drinking every weekend, that are not moving their bodies. And then their actions reflect all of that. Yeah. It's hard to take positive, healthy, consistent action if all of the rest of it's out of whack. And then if we relate this to business, if you're surrounded by people who are on welfare or in a job that they hate, or people that have never really made much money, or aren't self-aware or spiritual or working on their mindset, it's really hard to believe in yourself that you can actually make 100 grand or make $1 million or have a successful business or travel around the world and have the freedom to work from anywhere. But if you're surrounded by people that have done that, you know, if someone else can do it, then you can do it. It's like the whole 4-minute mile thing. You probably heard this story before, right? One person did the 4-minute mile, then all these people, I can't remember numbers. I love history, but I can never remember exact numbers. But all these people did it in a very short time after that, because it's like, oh, this is actually possible. So if you want to do that, this is when role models and circle of influence in your environment comes in. If you want to achieve something, look at someone who's done it as well. And look at someone who's done it in a way that matches your morals and values. So for example, say you want to make $100,000, don't look at someone who's made 100,000 or more and they're a bit of a dickhead, you know, and they're all about material possessions and flashy cars, and they've ripped people off, or, you know, they're maybe working their asses off and they're not doing it in a way that aligns with the way you want to live your life. Whereas if you want to make 100,000 or $1 million or whatever the number is, and you want to do it by having a life, only working 20 hours a week, traveling around the world, spending time with family, practicing self-care, then follow someone who's done it in that way. You know, and I've done it in that way. So, and same with Chris, you know, he's done a lot of things with his own health, his business as well. Follow people that have done it in a way that matches the way that you want to live your life.
Yeah, love it.
Kind of
Love it.
a heap of stuff in
Love it. Love it. Well, one thing that came to mind while you were talking to is, you know, going back to the affirmations. Like, affirmations are really popular, right? Like, especially with stuff like Louise Hay. Like, you know, she's kind of the one who I would say almost like put out all these affirmations, right? And the thing from my experience working with people and stuff and working myself, you know, affirmations are okay, but actually, what I've also found is that they can actually be harmful in some ways. And the reason they can be harmful is, what if your conscious and your subconscious are not actually in congruence with that affirmation? And what I mean, maybe consciously you're saying, I deserve wealth and abundance, but your subconscious is saying, you don't deserve crap. Like, you know, and so now every time you say that affirmation, it's literally like a clash, right? Like a clash is going on, and that creates resistance. And resistance is the opposite of what we want, which is flow. So it's say, you know, so every time you're saying that, if it's not really aligning with you, which you could get it to align over time, but who knows? I mean, but, you know, there's ways to find out. But from my experience, it just creates more turmoil. Whereas, like, if I do give a person an affirmation or a mantra or whatever you want to call it, it's congruent with the change we've made. So we've cleared something up, and then we implement a specifically worded mantra for them, not some generic mantra. And that's the thing, we can get caught up in wanting to say like all these feel good things, right? Like, oh, this makes me feel good, but that doesn't get you anywhere. Like, you know, I could just freaking levitate off my chair in my living room, but it's not gonna get me anywhere in my business or in my health if I'm not actually going out and exercising or doing things. And cool, though. That would be, I know I should work on that, just to do a live stream on levitating. But, you know, and so sometimes, so you need the combination of all those things, right? You need to be able to clear, you need to be aware what's your identity, you need to clear the blocks, and, you know, get in line, basically get in congruence with everything that's going on.
Yeah, totally. Hi, Christina. And by the way, Christina and Nancy, it'd be awesome to see your beautiful faces. And for all of you, if you have any questions.
I don't want to show my face.
Pardon? Couldn't hear. And if anyone has any questions anytime, feel free to pop it in the chat box or raise your hand if you want to chat as well. I'm just going to mute you, Christina, so there's no background noise for now. Cool. Oh, she's gone. Yeah, so what you were just saying as well, Chris, like I have in my journal actually from just the other day. Oh, where is it? Yeah, so I actually did some emotional clearing on myself the other day, and what came up for me, two emotions were frustration and worry. So for me to then clear that, I cleared it from my body, rubbing meridian points, and then I kind of, not so much affirmations, more so like just statements to myself, was one around my ex. Basically, he's doing the best he can with what he has, and that was the frustration. And then the worry, everything will work out just fine, and everything is already working out just fine. I have everything I've ever wanted, you know. So I was able to write those things for myself because I just cleared the stuff. And as I was rubbing the spot, I was like, oh, this intuitively, it just popped up for me. Yep. Whereas before that, if I hadn't have known that frustration and worry were even there, but there was just this annoying kind of feeling, or I felt kind of blocked up, I wouldn't have even known what was going on. But then to be able to clear that and bring those words to the surface brought those affirmations, instead of just saying, oh, everything's perfect and I have everything I want. It's actually, like Chris said, clearing it to then be able to actually believe that at a deeper level, not just say it. Oh, I'm going to believe it when I tell you 100 times. Yeah.
And that's what I hate about actually like the fake it till you make it statement. Like that's such crap. Like,
yeah.
And I'm going to give you guys a subtle shift that you can make. So typically when you're shifting your identity, you're thinking, oh, well, I want this house. Like I'm this person who has this house, and like I travel all the time. The thing is, so you're thinking of what you want, but that's actually not going to help you really get what you want. And let me explain. You have to actually think from already having it.
Yes.
And so it has to be like, no, I don't want it. I have it. Like I have the house. I am traveling. And what does that feel like? It freaking feels amazing. And you need to get into all the details possible. And then you need to be as frequent as you can. Like the frequency of how often you express that is really, really important. The more you can express that, the faster it's going to come into your life. Mm. It doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get that yacht overnight that you want, but because there's some level of patience and kind of having everything come as it should. But this is like the secret to manifestation is you got to stop thinking of what you want. You got to think from what you want. So from the place of what you want.
Yes. Aileen actually did this perfectly the other day with me, or last week with her first spiral session, and actually came to tears. And I thought something big had come up for her, or like something emotional. And it was that she'd actually felt it so much that she cried. And I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Beautiful.
Like
beautiful.
She smell her daughter's hair in the visualization and feel the sun on her skin. And it's like, we want that level of feeling and emotion and visualization, seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting. That makes it real, like really real. I don't think a lot of people do it to that level. I think it was awesome.
No, and this is what I'll say on this. Like, so you have to kind of build up your mental prowess. It's like working a muscle, right? It's like you're not going to get a big bicep by just like looking at it and hoping you're going to get it. And so you actually have to go out and freaking lift a weight. You got to put some pressure on you, if you will, resistance, right? You got to put some strain. You actually got to basically break it down, right? And it's the same with ourselves. We have to kind of break ourselves down on some levels. And sometimes this can be, unfortunately, sometimes it can be painful. But I find as we get better at it, it's typically less and less painful. And we get less and less resistance to the changes.
Yes.
And, like I said, the resistance in my book is really just we're not in congruence with our subconscious and conscious. Yeah. And so the more we improve our awareness, the more we change our identities and know how to shift them at will. And that's the thing. And it doesn't mean like, changing, because this is what I want you guys to think about. It's not about changing everything that you are. It's about shifting into this identity state of some part of you that you want to become, whether it's wealthy or healthy or in a better relationship. It's just shifting that. You're still fundamentally the same person. You're just, as you said earlier, kind of stepping into more of your superpowers.
Yeah.
in those areas.
Totally. I think as well, I've had a lot of people say to me in the past where they've done all this personal development work and they're like, why am I still getting angry or emotional, or why am I still getting triggered by these things or dealing with this stuff? And it's like the journey never ends. And I swear I've had times in the past where I felt like, but I've done all this work. Why am I feeling like this? And it's like the way that I describe it is that it's not like, oh, I've just cleared anger, so I'm never going to be angry again.
Yeah.
It's like you've cleared something up so you're better able to deal with it. And every time we do this kind of process, we're peeling another layer of the onion off. So we're going deeper. And like Chris just mentioned, it's like we find it easier to deal with things. So the more work that I've done on myself, I'll notice something that kind of triggers me or something that happens. I might feel judgment from someone or whatever, and I'll be able to look within and go, okay, I'm feeling like this person's judging me. How am I judging myself? Because it's always the mirror, right? If you're feeling like someone is doing something to you, no one can do something to you. It's like looking within and going, okay, how am I actually doing that myself, to myself or to others? And I'm able to do that within seconds, like that now. Have the lesson or learning, be able to let it go, not do it anymore, and move on with my life. Whereas in the past, that might have taken days, weeks, months, even years. It's why I can get clients faster results than what I've gotten for myself, because they can get it like that. And I've had to take the years to get there to be able to teach it in the best way possible for them to really understand it. So it all builds on top of each other. And the more work we do, the faster we can just let go of things, basically. I wanted to mention on the visualization thing as well. I've used visualization a lot. You can use this for anxiety. In basically, then this comes from NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, where you go out to 15 minutes after the successful completion of the event. So you go along like your timeline basically, and you think about a very specific event that you're feeling anxious, nervous, or worried about. I've used this before for public speaking, for powerlifting competitions, because I used to compete in powerlifting at a national level, for people that were scared to drive, people that were scared to walk up to people in the gym and like get leads, so many different areas. And basically you go out 15 minutes after the successful completion of the event. You get all the positive emotions, thoughts, feelings up. You know that you've completed it successfully, so you're letting go of any of the negatives. Turn around, look back towards now, and ask yourself, where's the anxiety? Is it still there or is it gone? And once it's gone, you come back to now. It literally takes a few minutes. And it's so powerful, because basically what anxiety, fear, overwhelm, and stress are thinking about the worst case possible scenario of something that's happening in the future. Hasn't even happened yet. It's not reality. Yeah, we're making up all the what ifs and worst case scenarios in our head. And an example of this is when my first powerlifting competition, I actually fell on my squat. I fell forwards onto my knees. The bar dropped behind me. Luckily, the spotter picked it up for me. But it was really scary having this heavy weight on my shoulders and dropping it. So then before my next competition, I was going to bed at night leading up to the competition. And in my head was this visualization of me falling over and over again. And, you know, if you're visualizing that over and over again, you're going to make it your reality. So instead, I did this activity on myself. And I got up the positive, successful completion of the event. So I was at the competition. I got the squat down to depth. I stood up with it. I saw 3 white lights on the board, which means I passed. I heard the crowd clapping and cheering. I heard the music blaring. I walked over and high-fived my coach. And I really got very, very specific with it. And then on my next competitions, every single competition after that, I got a personal best on most of my lifts. There were other people that were pacing and stressing out, and I'd literally close my eyes and visualize and breathe and be so much less nervous than everyone else in the room. This is what Olympic athletes do as well. The sprinters, that half a millisecond that they beat the other person by, it's not because they're so much faster. It's because they visualize themselves off those blocks over and over and over again. Visualize themselves crossing the finish line. It's so powerful.
Yeah. Yes. Love it. That's everything. And so, what I've encountered with that is sometimes some of my clients have a really hard time feeling stuff or getting visual, right? And so this can kind of make it hard for you to shift this identity or beliefs. And so some other things you can think about doing is if you're having a hard time feeling this new identity or visualizing it, one, you got to practice, but two, go out into the environment you want to be in. So let's say you want to be surrounded by more luxury, or you want to drive a Bentley or whatever it is. Go take it if they'll let you. Go take it on a test drive.
No.
Yeah. take it on a test drive, or go to a part of town that's really say you're not living in the part of town you want, and you want to live in this other part. Go there. Breathe it in. Actually be there physically, because that will get. If you can't get it in your mind's eye right away, go and actually be in the environment, and then you'll be able to get it.
Yeah. I know someone that used to go and she used to be a personal trainer, wanted to step into writing and coaching. And she used to go and take her journal and go and sit in a really fancy hotel, but just in the in the restaurant. She couldn't afford to stay in the hotel, but she'd go and take her journal and do all this journaling work and affirmations and writing out action steps and doing the work, sitting in this beautiful space, and literally just bought herself a water or a coffee, that costs a few dollars, but she was surrounded by that environment that she wanted to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's key, going back to your original, comment about environment. That's how you can kind of enhance this visualization process, or if you're having a hard time with it. Because I will tell you from my own experience, and Ellie will tell you the same, getting into this new identity and shifting to this is the key to everything. Even if you left out all the other things like self-clearing and stuff, if you can learn how to shift your identity, you can shift all those other things. It makes it easier if you can clear and stuff. It makes it a lot easier, in fact, and much more rapid. But if you've got nothing else from this, is that if you can just shift your identity, you can literally create anything you want in your life. Anything.
Yeah, totally.
Anything.
And that it comes back to, I guess, self-worth and acceptance of self as well. When you love yourself, accept yourself, all parts of yourself, then you have a strong positive identity that's going to help you to go and want to do those things. You're not going to go and test drive a Bentley if you don't believe that you're worthy, or that the people in the car dealership are going to laugh at you, so if you believe that you are worthy, then you're going to go out and take those actions. And I guess worthiness and acceptance, I could talk on this for days, but a big thing around acceptance of self is accepting all parts of yourself. I asked my boyfriend recently why he loved me. We just like to have cool conversations like this. And he said all these beautiful things about me, but then he also said my craziness and my bipolarness, and not that I have bipolar, but sometimes I act like it, and that how sometimes I'm super emotional and super girly. And he said all these things that could be perceived as negative traits. And he's like, I love all parts of you because that's who you are. And he's able to say that and feel it and actually mean it because he loves and accepts himself. And you can only do that, you can only love and accept someone else and receive that from someone else if you're loving and accepting all parts of yourself. And so, over the last few months, I've been able to do that with myself in realizing, yes, I love all parts of myself because that's me. It's who I am. It's stopping to look at things as black or white, good or bad, positive or negative, and just looking at them as just, they just are, it's all parts of you. And when you do that for yourself, you can do it for others, and you can attract it in and actually receive it as well.
Yeah. Yes. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
So, going back to all this, talking about this identity, your identity is the key to your freedom. And I can tell you that from personal experience. This is how I've shifted to where I'm at, to accomplishing working mostly from home, making more money than I've ever wanted. But and let's talk about money for a second in that aspect. The reason money in itself for me, and I know for most of the people I work with, isn't the most important thing. It's what money can do for you, right?
Yeah.
And money is just energy. So there's so many beliefs around money that if I get too much money, I'm going to be selfish, or I don't deserve to have it, or I'm going to start being this evil person if I have money. Money doesn't have the power over you, okay? Like, unless you believe it does.
Yeah.
Key phrase. So, we're constantly
I want to add there quickly as well. Money makes you more of who you are. So if you're already
yes.
a dickhead, you're going to be more of a dickhead because you have more resources to be more of a dickhead. If you're a person, or actually, let's get rid of the word good, like I just said, but if you're an honest, caring, loving person, you're going to be more of that with more money. You're going to give more to more people and have more resources to make a difference in the world. You're not going to just turn into a dickhead if you're not one.
Yeah. And that's my experience. My experience with people with lots of wealth, at least in my personal reality, is that they've done nothing but good, nothing but give. And that's what I've seen from people with wealth. And, let's just look at this. And this is why I've become even more passionate about helping people with their wealth, because wealth, you can accomplish whatever you want. So let's say you want to build some wells in Africa. You can't do that without money.
Exactly.
Right. Let's just say you want to adopt. You can't do that without money. Let's say you want to travel. You can't do that without money. So if you're mad at money, realize you're not really mad at money. It's just a belief system or identity that you've adopted that you can change. Because literally everything, including money, is energy. We're all energy. This is all energy. And the perception we have around it is what gives it certain powers in certain ways. And again, that goes back to how we identify. What's our identity? What's our beliefs with that identity?
Yeah.
And so, the way I view money is I can help more people. So the more money I make, this is my belief and my identity, is the more I can impact people, the more I can spend time with my family. And it's actually, guess what? It's true. The more money I've made, I've had more free time, but I've also had more impact on people's lives. They've gotten better results, and everything just keeps rolling into that. Because that's my identity around it, and therefore that's my reality.
Yeah, totally. And it can do the opposite if you're holding on to a negative belief system. So, for example, I used to have a hustle mentality. I used to work my ass off, and the more money I made, the more money I spent, and the more I felt like I needed a bigger goal. I needed to make more money. And this was because I'd had unresolved things from my past, particularly around my dad. I still see my dad now at 53 years old working his butt off. And he has this belief that if you're not working, if you're not busy, then you're not a good person. And he probably learned that from his dad. I don't know. And I think my dad is a great person, and he really taught me a strong work ethic. And I learned a lot of good things from that mentality. But I also felt I outgrew some of it. And the way that I outgrew it was that I realized I didn't need to just work. That's an old, I've got Rihanna stuck in my head now.
Work.
But that's an old kind of mentality before internet days, really. And the more that we can let go of these things from past generations and see the world in a different way, the more we kind of break that cycle. And we break that cycle for ourselves and for our kids and future generations to come. And because every generation, the world changes so much. And that belief could have been real back then. Our grandparents, or however many generations ago, where they're living through world wars and Great Depression and things like that, where there wasn't, where you literally did have to work more hours to make more money. It was truth, but it's not truth anymore. And with the internet and with group calls and group coaching and high-level packages and so many different ways to make money and automation and sales pages and team, there's so many ways that you can make money. There's an abundance of money out there. And like Chris said, it's just energy, that if you let go of negative beliefs, if you let go of the past, let go of the future, and just be really present right now and show up from a place of how can I give value today? How can I help someone? How can I change their life? How can I be living my purpose and my why today, and really sharing my knowledge and value with the world, coming from that place rather than, I've got to make money because I don't have enough money and I've got to pay my bills and I'm lazy if I'm not working hard. See the difference? And this way you actually get to work less and make a bigger difference in the world and feel better about yourself. And this way is just pressure and stress. And if we go back to this way, it comes from ease and flow. And yes, you still got to do the work. You still got to work hard, but working hard doesn't mean working 15 hours a day necessarily. Working hard means working hard with the time that we've got, prioritizing, focusing on the most important things. And then you could literally, like today, I've done a phone call with my team, 2 coaching calls with clients, and then jumping on this because I felt called to do it. I had that energy to do it. And after this, it's like, and in between that, I've had a break to walk down to the shops, get some healthy food, make myself some lunch, had chats with friends. It's 4:30 in the afternoon where I am right now. And after this, I've got the rest of the day and the evening to just chill out. I'm going to go for a big walk. And, that's my life.
Sounds terrible.
Spent the weekend on a boat with my kids, going on a tour on the boat. Like, it's a perfect balance of travel, time with my kids, time for myself, time for my health, time with my clients, and learning and growing and doing what I love. It's all a balance, and I don't believe balance is like every day has to be perfectly balanced in those areas. It's balanced over the week or the month or the year,
Yeah. And that's, and that's what in my book is like what true abundance is. When you hear the word abundance, it's having basically everything you want. If you want to work a 12-hour day every now and again, great, fine. And sometimes maybe that has to happen. And, that's okay. And that's the thing, like when you're saying balance, sometimes people, it can get too extreme in some ways, right? It's like, oh, well, every day I have to be doing something where I go out and do something, which is not true.
Not reality.
No. And you can design, and the thing is, you can design your life the way you want it. Like,
exactly.
Maybe so you want to work like 3 days where you're working like, 8 to 10 hours and then take the rest of the week off. Maybe that's your lifestyle. It can be, and that's the thing, you have to design it. You have to design it however you want it, not how someone else's idea of it. Because this is where alignment comes in. You have to be in alignment with what you want. So maybe one person could want the Bentley, but the other person just wants a reliable car and just not have to worry about money.
Exactly.
And that's okay. Like whatever you want is what you want, and you should just own that and just get in alignment, not with the world's views, not with your friends, not even with your spouse necessarily. Although you want to try not to create conflict there, but like it has to be what you want. It can't be someone else's dictation.
Exactly. Hey, Lily. Hey, beautiful. And Lily and Nancy, if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat box as well. Chris was just talking about alignment, and, all of this, what we've been talking about, ties in perfectly to what I've been through this year. So since February, I actually left my 9-year relationship. We get along better now as friends. He's an amazing guy. I'll always care about him and support him in any way that I can. But we just weren't working. We'd grown apart. And so in February of this year, I realized all of this. And before I went to, I ran a retreat in Fiji. And before that, I was trying to get connection, but I wasn't getting it. When really I was disconnected and out of alignment with myself, but didn't realize this was what it was. I felt like I just needed to make $1 million, and I needed to invest $5,000 a month in this marketing coach, which is what I was doing at the time, because they had all the answers. Because I wasn't trusting or believing in myself fully. And that the whole thing was about making $1 million, having this advanced marketing strategy, and that was the thing that I was missing. But what I realized what I was missing is I was disconnected and out of alignment within myself. And my purpose was off. I didn't care about making $1 million. What my purpose really is making enough money to be able to do what I love, to travel around the world, have the lifestyle that I want, have the time for those things that I mentioned before that are important to me. And, whatever money I make to do that is perfect. And so after my retreat in Fiji, I had massive, massive transformation. And so did all of my clients as well, because I got in alignment. I got connected. And after that, I let go of my relationship. I let go of my house. I let go of my cat. I let go of seeing my kids every single day. I let go of most of my possessions. I packed everything up and I moved overseas. And that's a lot of physical and people stuff. I also let go of judgment, criticism, blame. What else? Like so many things. I realized I was doing those things to myself and doing it to my ex and to others. And I kept asking myself, I knew I'd done so much work on myself, but I was using that as a story. It's like, oh, but I've done all this work on myself. Now I just need the strategy. Bullshit. I teach people not to do that. And so it's like, when I realized, it was like I was telling myself, I've done all this work on myself, but there's something deeper, and I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. And once I let go of all that stuff, I created space and energy to bring in what I really wanted. And so because of that, I've cut out probably $30,000 a month in expenses. I'm actually making a little bit less than I was, probably 6 months ago. But because my expenses are so much lower, and because I've freed up so much stuff and let go of programs that I was offering as well, I'm only working with high-level clients who I absolutely love. I'm only doing programs and work that I absolutely love and in alignment with. I'm totally in alignment in all areas of my life. I have way more time and energy, and I actually have better money or cash flow because my expenses are so much less. So I just wanted to share that story because what Chris was saying before about alignment is so important, and that was literally life-changing for me. I realized before it looked like on the outside that I had it all, but inside I was kind of breaking apart and not knowing what was going on and crying at night and feeling super emotional and not really knowing. And I realized I'd kind of settled in life. And so many people can kind of settle in a relationship, in a job, in their business, with their health. Oh, I'm not that unhealthy. I'm not that fat, wearing bigger clothes to feel good. But there's so many things we can settle. And what I realized at this time was, do I want to just settle and have a good life, a good enough life? No, I don't want a mediocre life. I don't want to settle anymore. I want an extraordinary life. I want it all, and I can have it all. And that's what I've done in literally just 4 months. I've created that.
Yeah. That's what alignment's all about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, like you say, because we do a lot of this clearing work and stuff. And this is what people don't realize. Even though we do this clearing work, like we all get in our own way at times. Like you get some, and you get some blinders on, and it's part of the human experience. And there's going to be these shifts. Some are really big. Some are like these little shifts that consistently happen, and some are really large. It doesn't matter. We're all going to have them. And, this is why like getting support for your vision is so essential in my book. Mm-hmm. Because I can attest that, like working with you, Ellie, for example, like I knew that if I didn't work with you, I wouldn't be able to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And that's not saying like, I was giving my power away to you. It was that I knew that I needed this extra support, help, this extra set of eyes to help me get where I needed to do. And we all need help at times. And for me, like investing in that kind of, talking from investment, a lot of us get scared around investing, or we talk about cost. I don't use the word cost because cost is like frivolous in my book, like a frivolous spending.
Yeah.
Investing is essential investing in yourself. And that can be at different levels. It can be monetarily. It can be in time alone with yourself. It can be in, in kind of self-care work, whatever it is. But, if you're saying no to investment, it might be not be in alignment. But what if it is in alignment and you're saying no? What you're really saying no to is you're saying no to yourself. You're saying no to the possibilities. You're saying no to what you really want, even though it sounds counterintuitive. Like I will tell you, when I was getting into VIP with Ellie, I was like, holy crap, how am I going to do this? Seriously, right? And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to swing this. But it wasn't like I can't afford this. It was like, how can I afford this? Because this has to happen.
Yes.
And that's a mindset shift that everyone needs if you want to get ahead. Like I can tell you that mindset shift alone has created most of what my life is right now, is getting out of that mentality of, oh, I can't afford this, to like, how can I afford this? And I will die. Like I will literally go off the edge to get what I want. Like I have no e-break. There's no plan B. Like this is what's happening.
Pretty much tripled your business or something? a few short months, like
Yeah.
from making that commitment. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing I've learned from this is you have to commit. It can't be, I'm going to try. It can't be maybe. It's like, it's do or die.
I
And
don't let people use the word try in front.
yeah. And I've used that before. It's you slap me. So, across the computer.
It was like me a few months ago. I invested in a mentor to work with him one-on-one for a month. And at the time, I was paying $910 rent a week for a house I wasn't even living in for my ex and the kids. I was also paying $700 or $800 a week in Airbnbs for me to live in a separate place because my environment was so important to me. I needed my own place with everything going on. And I was also paying, team and business expenses as well as other personal expenses. And it was a lot of money. And at the time, it was like all this money going out, but I told myself the same thing Chris did at the time. I can't afford not to do this. And that support from that mentor at the time was invaluable and really helped me grow as a person and trust in myself as well. So yeah, it was so needed.
Yeah. And so it's like, you need to trust in yourself. Like you said, and sometimes you need help to trust in yourself. And you got to realize that that's okay. Like, it's all part of the process. There wouldn't be coaches if any of us didn't need help, right? Like, or
yeah. Well, coaches help you see the things that you can't see yourself.
Yeah.
And even if you're a mindset coach, it's good having a mindset coach because there's things that you can't see because you're here and they're looking from this bird's eye view. And another thing that kind of ties into that we were talking about before around environment as well is like we can say you're in a relationship, a long-term relationship, you get stuck in habits and patterns and cycles. Yeah. And it's like you can't see outside of that because you're so much inside of it. And you have these blinkers on, these things that are just blinding you from the opportunities and whatever's outside of here. So what you need to do, like we were talking about before, putting yourself in a different environment, surrounding yourself with different people, doing something that scares the hell out of you, getting out of your comfort zone, because it's when you do those things that you actually see, oh yeah, I was kept doing this pattern before, or oh yeah, here's this opportunity that I didn't see before, or oh, this person's making this amount of money from doing that and they're doing it like this easily. It is possible. So we start to take the blinkers off and see the opportunities that were actually there right in front of you all along, but you were blocking them from your habits, your environment, your values, your belief systems, your identity.
Well, I like in that. I love the analogy. So you ever gotten, you're driving, you're seeing all kinds of different cars, right? And, whatever, you notice different cars. Now, let's just say you got a new car or you have your eye on a new car you want. All of a sudden you're driving and all these, like, let's say a Volkswagen start showing up. All right. Like, were they not there before? No, they were there the whole time. It's just our perception shifted, like, and our focus shifted. So like, basically, like, focus and clarity along with this awareness are some of the important things that you can have. Like I'm focused 100% on what, like, I want what my life to be. Actually, what's really funny is I had up my vision, like, I wrote out like we've done in the past, and this is only a few months ago where I rewrote this vision of what I wanted. Like, this is my life now, right? Kind of vision. And I hadn't looked at it in a while. I focus on what I want all the time, but I hadn't looked at it in a while. I was like, oh, I need to look at that. So I looked at it and I'm like, I've done about 90% of this in 3 months.
Yeah. Awesome.
And my wife looked at it, she's like, oh, that's weird. She's like, you did. And that's why I like writing it out too, because you have it there. Like, even if you haven't looked at it in a while, you can look back and be like, holy crap, I did that. And this was from, 3 months ago. Yeah. And for me, I'm like, holy crap. So reflection is really important. And then expressing gratitude. And like, I'm like, holy crap, I'm so grateful for what I've accomplished in such a short amount of time. And that allows for more to come in.
Exactly. Because so much of the time, or so many people are like, oh, I achieved this thing. Okay, well, they might have made 10K a month. Okay, now it's 15K. And it's like, no, like, be grateful for the 10K. You don't need to always be pushing and pushing and pushing and going to the next thing. Have that reflection and that gratitude. Look at the lessons that you learned. Look at why you achieved that, so that you can replicate it and keep moving forwards, but actually be proud of your achievements. Otherwise, there's always going to be the next thing. and you just go through life never actually giving yourself a pat on the back and being proud of how far you've come.
Yeah. And
it's not good enough, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You can take that moment to be, what I call like be still, like just be still. Like you said, like the hustle, we're constantly going. Like I allow myself more than ever, like, and I'm making more money. Which is like, you know, for most people, irony of it all is to be still. Like if I feel like not doing anything and I'm feeling like out of the flow and I try to get in it and I'm done. Like I'm not doing it. Like, you know, like I'll do it tomorrow or later today. Like, and that's what, you know, we try to force ourselves through things, which in my book is a huge mistake because you're not putting out your best content if you're forcing yourself through it. You're not putting out your best self if you're forcing yourself through it. And so what I want to get people in, and I know the same with you, is like getting into this place where you're taking this really effortless action where your action just naturally flows from the state of all these other things we've talked about.
Yeah, exactly. And a really cool way to do that is when you wake up in the morning, first thing, do a meditation. Already in the morning, you're going to be in a trance-like state, which is what meditation does to you. So you're just building on that and get into a meditative state so much quicker because it's first thing in the morning. And meditate. You can do a guided one or with music, or what I like to do is just with nothing, and you're just breathing and relaxing your body, focusing on your body and just being alone with your thoughts basically. And then after that, because you're in just this amazing state, you actually you'll start to get answers to questions, and you start to get clarity on things, and you get connected to your purpose and your why and what you actually want, or how you want the day to be, even on the micro, or how you want your life to be on the bigger scale. And then from that place, when you finish your meditation, imagine if you jump on a live stream or write a post or write a blog from that space. Just the energy that you're in, people will feel that. Rather than going like, oh, it's the end of the day, or you've had a busy day doing all these bits and pieces, or scattered all over the place, and maybe you haven't eaten and you're tired. You don't want to create from that space. Create from the flow place. Create from the energy and the connected place.
Yeah, and what you'll notice is you'll take far less action with far better and more results. Like you just do. Like you can't force your way through life. You can, and a lot of people do it, but
I don't want that life. Sick and injured, and depressed, and
all kinds of stuff, because eventually it catches up to you. Eventually, in one way or the other. And like, I don't care how rich you are. Like, you know, going back to wealth, I don't care how rich you are. You're not a rich person if you're working like 100+ hours a week, and you're constantly scared that you're going to lose your money, and you have no time for family or friends or anything that actually makes up a life.
Well, it's changing the definition of wealth, isn't it? Wealth isn't just about money. It's like what actually makes you a wealthy person to your core. Yeah. And going back to that as well with the meditation and the creating content from that space, you might say exactly the same thing on a live stream, but people feel a different energy, and you're going to get more clients and be more connected with people from that space. It was like after I let go of all that stuff in February, people said I looked 5-10 years younger. People said I was just glowing. They could see the shift in me. And it's like people thought I was good before that, but then they saw the massive shift just in my body.
And then there's literally a natural energy attraction. Like, so, you know, we're talking about energy, like you can start attracting the people, the things you want into your life because you're on that same basically wavelength, if you will. Or you can call it a frequency or whatever you want to call it. But literally, so, you know, people talk about the law of attraction. I hate the law of attraction, actually. But because it's so, like, overused and outdone, and it's not really how it works. It's an oversimplified version of how it works. What we're talking about is the true law of attraction. And it's basically assuming what you want, assuming the identity that you want, and then you attract what you are, right? Like, so you're not attracting to your thoughts. You actually attract what you are because those thoughts spring from what you are. So it's not saying like, oh my gosh, I have wealth and abundance over and over again, like we talked about earlier. You have to be it. Like, and from being, that's where we comes true doing. Like, it's just a natural arm of being.
Yeah. And that ties into the self-love and acceptance as well. Like, if you are being that and feeling that within yourself and truly believe it, then you'll attract that in a partner as well. If you're in a place of desperation and you're trying to make sales, that repels people. It pushes people away. If you're coming from a place of abundance and purpose and passion and wanting to help people, they'll feel that and they'll want to jump on board and be excited to jump on board with you.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. And again, speaking from experience, couldn't be more true. And literally, guys, like the stuff we've shared in this, like, this stuff is gold. Like, I'm not, we're slightly biased, but this stuff is the stuff that can change everything for you. Like, we're giving away some serious gold. Like, we should be charging money for this. Like, that's how good this is. So, like, yeah, exactly. So take this to heart. Like, we value our time a lot, and we got in this because we knew that this could be beneficial for a lot of people.
Yeah.
This is something that we're both passionate about because it can change everything for you.
Yeah.
Because we know that you can live the life you want to. You can have it all. Like, and that doesn't mean like you were saying, Ellie, like I need to be making $1 million. I could be making just like whatever it is, maybe a couple $100,000, and that's going to give me the life exactly I want. I can invest in stuff and whatever, and I'm living my perfect life. Like, you don't need all this money necessarily. You just need to design. Maybe you want it, and that's okay. If you want it, then get it. Like, it's whatever you want.
And it's not always about more. We live in this society where it's like more all the time. But what about if less is more? I was at a metal festival in Belgium last week, and we were one of the last to leave in the campsite. And it was just such this throwaway society. I had these thoughts going through my head as we were leaving, and people had just left tents because they couldn't be bothered packing them up. Perfectly good tents. There was rubbish everywhere, food everywhere, just all this stuff that had just been thrown on the ground. It was a mess. It was like a pigsty. And it just brought up these things in my mind of we're in such a throwaway society of like, oh yeah, I can buy another one, And it's like, well, what if we don't have this thing where we're so attached to material possessions and always buying more and wanting more and needing more? Because when you strip that stuff away, you actually get more of yourself. You're more of your true self, and you get more of what's important, which is, well, it's different for everyone, but for me, it's happiness, it's love, it's connection, it's alignment, it's lifestyle, it's adventure and fun, and all that good stuff, rather than stuff and things.
Yeah, stuff and things are boring. I like experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
Like me and my wife talk about like, maybe we want to get like an RV type thing eventually, but the only reason we want that is so we can actually just go around and travel.
Yeah.
So it's not really about that. It's just about getting to the experience with it. Yeah. And it's the same thing with money. Like I don't, want to make, X amount of money because just to make X amount of money. Like, it's like it can provide experiences. And
to make in the world. Yeah.
Exactly. Like if you live your life from that place of like you wanted to have these experiences and wanting to contribute to the world and make an impact, and that's your focus, and you shift your identity to that, and that person who's wealthy doing that, dude, you're gonna feel fulfilled.
Totally. And the thing is, when we're spending our money on these material possessions, this really ties into the hustle mentality. It's like, well, I have to work more because I have to make more because my expenses are so high, because I'm buying all this shit that I don't need because really I'm unhappy within myself. I had a Facebook memory from 2 years ago pop up that I just bought a $400 pen for my ex. It's like, it's fucking pen, for God's sake. I bought an $800 dress that I only wore twice because I was sad that day. There were just stupid things that I would buy and that I would, purchase because I just felt like that's the life that I needed to live. And because really I was unhappy within myself. And when we constantly do that, it's repeating this vicious cycle of, oh shit, I've spent all this money, so I need to work more. I need to hustle. I need to push. And when we let go of that stuff, we stop thinking about the short term and we think about the long term. Your business isn't about just a season. It's about a lifetime. It's your life's work. If it's what you really love and it's your purpose and you want to leave a legacy, it's your life's work. So you can't hustle for that. You can hustle for a season. You can hustle for a short period of time, but hustle isn't a way of life. It's a tool to use at certain points of time, but it's not something you can do all day, every day for your life. It doesn't work. You'll end up getting a disease or illness or injured or losing everyone that's important to you. Like it shows up in so many different ways. And so if you want this to be a legacy, if you want it to be a life's work, you need to slow down. You need to stop spending money on shit that you don't want or need. You need to get connected within yourself and realize what's really important to you.
Yeah, I liken that to the people who are driving around these Mercedes or whatever other somewhat expensive vehicle, and then you see it, they go park in their driveway and they're living in the crappiest house you've ever seen. And I liken that to like our inner, like we're on the outside, we're so obsessed with putting all these things around us, but inside we're like a crumbling house, right? Like, and that doesn't feel good, as we've all been there. Like,
yeah.
And so you tend to the inside first, the external molds around you.
Yes.
Instead of trying to force it to mold. And, I think of hustle often. It often comes from like a lack mentality, like, totally. Right? Like I don't have enough, I need more. So I got to keep working to get more. Like, so there's this percentage of lack that's still in your brain and your mind so really I was telling you, you need to clear something out. And again, I would say, like you're talking about, you need to hustle sometimes. I don't even consider like what you're saying would be hustle. It's like sometimes I need to work harder or put more hours in. But it's not necessarily even hustle. It's just what I have to do as part of my business at this point. Yeah. Maybe I'm putting together a new program and I want to get it done, and I'm in the flow. So I want to get it done, and I'm spending like 10 hours on it because I'm in that flow state in 10 hours, and I get it done.
The way me and my boyfriend talk about it is the hammer and the flower. And the hammer is the masculine, which is very, is very hustle-like kind of. It's like hard work and going out there. And the flower is the feminine. And they're both tools that we use at different parts of our day or our life. And it's like, yep, I'm going to go and pick up my hammer and I'm going to get the work done, and I'm going to be my strong masculine, be in my power. And then it's like, okay, and now it's time for my flower. Now it's time to nurture and connect and be still and give back to myself. And both of them should be used. And we can, it's sometimes it's one or the other, and sometimes it's actually bringing them both together and having that balance of masculine and feminine at the same time. I had this woman come into my life. I did a spiritual journey with her a couple of months ago, and I was trying to figure out, how do I be both my masculine and feminine at the same time, rather than like, oh, I'm one and oh, I'm hustling and now I've got to switch off, and then fuck, I've got to hustle again because I took time off. I got rid of that pattern, and she showed up as both masculine and feminine to me. She's super spiritual, like a real hippie. If you ask her a question, she'd close her eyes and just breathe and really connect in for the answer. And but then she was bloody strong. She held space for me and my boyfriend, like two very strong people. She held space for us in a really amazing way. She was strong when she was like massaging my shoulders, and she was very direct and certain and wise, but then had this really soft, playful, cheeky little girl side to her as well. And she was really the perfect balance of both, and showed me how I can be both at the same time. Yeah, awesome, Lily. Totally.
Yeah, because that's the truth. Like, when you talk about masculine and feminine energy, it should be a constant interweaving. Like, even if you are hustling or doing more work, you should have that level of, intuition that's coming into that, which I would say, is that flow state weaving in through it. And, it's a practice to get it more interlinked in a very healthy way.
Yeah. I was asking myself those questions for probably 6 months, and then she showed up and I was like, that's how I do it.
Yeah, ask and you shall receive.
Exactly. The right people, opportunities, places, things come into your life at exactly the right time. Yeah.
Yeah. And something I always say is everything works out for your good.
Yeah.
If you choose to let it.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Did you have anything else you want to add, Chris? I'm fine to wrap up.
I think I'm good. I think we've talked about a lot of things.
I don't even know how long that was.
Cool. I know it's been a while.
Yeah, so thanks, Lily and Nancy, and then we had some other people on before, Eileen and Christina, I think, as well. We're gonna actually we'll put some links on how you guys can follow us if you're, Chris's follower or my follower, how you can follow both of us. And I'm going to share this around, and Chris will share it around as well. And please, if you got a lot out of this, share it around with your friends and family as well. And thanks to those that came on live, and Nancy was on the whole time, so that's awesome.
Hardcore.
Yeah, it's been great connecting with you, Chris, and sharing this with you and having this awesome chat.
Yeah, awesome. Loved it.
Cool.